over Epstein, Trump offered unexpected praise for the former president.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me, he understood me. You know, he was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump, when there were 18 people. It was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump.
So just as a bit of a sidebar here, Bill, do you have any idea why Trump is so sometimey about Bill Clinton? Sometimes he's a sexual predator, other times he's been good to him.
I mean, I think Trump just went through a very difficult public period when he was out of office. I think he knows how difficult it is to be in the spotlight under circumstances like this. And I think there's some empathy, perhaps, that people don't give him credit for. I think there's some of that here.
He sees some of his experience in
Perhaps.
vengeance.
He knows this is difficult.
I wonder if it's empathy or sort of self-interest, right? That he's saying, nobody look here, and also don't look at me, right? That's sort of what I'm seeing in this. It feels a bit like the boys' club. And I think when it comes to the Epstein files, people aren't exactly worried about political party. They're worried about privilege, and that people who seem to be above the rest of us get away with things. And Trump is no exception.
Should the testimony be public?
You know, sure. Look, I don't think they should be testifying. Look, they're being called to testify, supposedly to get more information about Epstein. If you're going to say the Clintons have to testify, then Trump has to testify, period. I mean, there's just no way to justify one and not the other. So let's just assume for a moment that it is a completely political play to get the Clintons there. Okay, it is a political response to say, let's do this in public. Because I think they're going to try, and in particular, Hillary probably is going to try to bring Donald Trump back into the conversation about Jeffrey Epstein.
Which, can I just say, there's a trend online right now that's saying that 2026 is just 2016 all over again. And something about this feels very much like that. If you've seen people posting those throwback photos, this matchup feels very similar.
I thought that was a good trend too.
Oh, Dragon.
We're all younger than Ashley.
Yes, we were.
It's true. People saying it's part of the millennial midlife crisis.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing Donald Trump's got in common with Bill Clinton. We got all his voters now. All the good old boy Union Democrats that voted for Bill Clinton in middle America, they now vote for Donald Trump. That is one connection in history that you'll never be able to shake. All these blue-collar, non-college, working-class guys from West Kentucky and other places in middle America where I'm from, they were the biggest Clinton people I knew. And now they love Trump. They've abandoned the Democratic Party. So what do they have in common? We took all of Clinton's coalition, and now Trump's the president.
I don't want to play politics with this. If you're in the Epstein files, you can need to get dragged out. If you have done something wrong in that, it was a sick, disgusting, despicable, sexual pedophilia, predatory, the worst of the worst. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. You need to go down. You destroyed some of these women's lives. They have fought to bring their dignity, to bring their voice to center of the story. This is not about politics. I really don't care what office you held. You could be the dog catcher or the president. If you had something to do with this, you need to be held to account.
What is this?
And any involvement in being a part of sex trafficking,
Okay, fine.
sexual
any of that.
abuse.
But how about, like, you had a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein on email?
Ask the question. Once it's answered, ask and answer. But I don't think it should just be one side versus the other side.
I'm certainly not going to sit there and defend anything.
You know,
because
but
you want to get killed on social media.
But this whole some fouls out, not all the fouls out. I like this guy. I don't know. This is nasty. This was disgusting. And then if it was anybody else but billionaires, they all would be called in to be discussed.
That's exactly it.
Well,
exactly it.
I agree with your sentiments, of course. One thing that I don't understand, I've not understood it since this story's been going for the last several months. There are members of Congress who claim to have had conversations with the victims where they heard them name names. No one ever goes to the floor of the House, or anywhere else for that matter, and says, here is the information that I was told. I think they would have protection to do so if they did on the floor of the House. I've never understood why that. I'm with you. I'm disgusted by all this. Somebody somewhere is alive and knows names of the people you're talking about who actually, to your point, did something horrific. But no one ever says the name.
That feels
Why?
but that feels like a nuclear option, right? Like,
Aren't we there?
well, not really, because I mean, I think that the part that is frustrating about this is that kind of what you were alluding to. There is this presumption that everybody was just hanging out with Epstein, emailing him, joking around about sex with underage girls, but that nobody did anything criminal. And I'm not sure that's the assumption that we should have. Shouldn't the Justice Department say, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board on all of this. Let's go back to
They
the witnesses. Well, I mean, did they?
Yeah.
I don't
Look,
know.
There'd
I
be,
mean,
there'd
I
be
think there-
no better prize for any DOJ, Biden or Trump, to be able to prosecute someone
listen,
who engaged in a
just gonna-
crime with Epstein.
I'm just going to put on the table what people who are skeptical of that
Yeah.
believe, which is that there are so many powerful people across the political spectrum who are implicated that it is in no one's best interest to truly dig in to what happened here. And I think that the way that this has been handled across party lines, going back, more than a decade, seems to make that seem very true, that nobody wants to touch it, not because they're not interested in getting some kind of, legal prize, but because there are people that are powerful in both parties who are
except
involved.
the key person who would belie that is Ghislaine Maxwell, meaning she's the one who had contact with all of these people. She was the one who was friends with all. So if that theory was right, they wouldn't have prosecuted her either.
Ghislaine Maxwell, remember, maintains her innocence.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
if she,
so what?
My point is that if she were to implicate other people in sex trafficking, she would be essentially, she would be implicating
No,
herself.
she could say, I
And
saw
so
certain
she has
things.
a lot of reasons.
No, I had nothing to do with it. I saw this
How
person
many
would.
people are in jail because of the Epstein files?
Sorry?
How many people are actually in jail because of this?
The Epstein files? or
Because
Ghislaine
no,
Maxwell?
because of the Epstein.
Just one.
One?
Just
One.
one.
Right.
Alive.
Okay. So how many victims are there?
Hundreds.
So did one person do wrong by all those people? Who victimized those people? We need to know who they are. They need to be held to account. And the only way you do is go back to the
And the
drawing
way
board.
to do that is not creating a circus like the Clintons want to do. Let's have a closed door deposition, taped, recorded,
I know
made
we're not
public,
talking about
where we
the
get to
circus.
the
Because
bottom of things.
I watched influencers walk out of the White House with these like Epstein file binders. Like, what are we talking about? They want to create the circus. I think what everyone wants
the
here
public
is
hearing's gonna be.
more transparency.
I think both things
not
are
a cherry
true.
pick
And I think,
video.
Bill, I tend to agree with you. I find public hearings, especially on Capitol Hill these days, to be completely worthless. And there is such a strong interest of justice in this situation for real victims that, I don't know that it's helping anybody for this to be out in the public.
Yeah,
And
no.
Congress said you can do
Let
both.
it.
You
I
can
guess
do both.
the reason why
Maybe
they
do
want
both,
it is
but
because they
let's
don't
have a
trust.
serious inquiry.
They don't
Yeah.
trust what people do when they leave the private testimony. They go out and
Right.
they spin it, right? So the reason why they're saying make it public is because there is no trust in our government,
Yeah.
regardless of Democrat or Republican. And they're saying, let me say it from my own mouth and let you hear it from in your own ears.
Right. Next for us, an event meant for prayer and reflection has turned into a Trump mixtape of self-praise and grievances. Was it appropriate or preachy? We'll talk about it next.